Friends, welcome to my class on History of India. I am honored to see so many subscribers to this channel. Today, we are going to discuss the Mughal Empire under Jahangir. I am Arani Saikia from the Postgraduate Department of History, Nagaon College. In the screen, this is a seal issued during the reign of Jahangir. This is a portrait of Jahangir, who happened to be the fourth Mughal emperor reigning from 1605 to 1626. Let's begin with the background of Jahangir. Jahangir was born to the Mughal Emperor Akbar and his wife, who was the princess from the Raja of Amber. He was named Salim in respect of the Sufi saint Sheikh Salim Chishti. Salim's relationship with the Mughal courtesan Anarkali is adapted in the Bollywood classic Mughal-e-Azam. After coronation, he assumed the title of Nuruddin Muhammad Jahangir Badshah Ghazi. Jahangir literally meant conqueror of the world. State of affairs under Jahangir is important part of his political culture. Jahangir was given a powerful and well-organized empire by his father Akbar. The state practically ran itself. There were few lands worth conquering. There was relatively little internal problem and little for Jahangir to do except enjoy his life. Yet he led a few campaigns in the Deccan Plateau in southern India. Like Akbar, Jahangir realized that the conquests could be lasting only on winning the goodwill of the people, but not by force. He diplomatically released many of the princes and jamidars of Bengal who were detained at the Mughal court. Jahangir allowed them to return to Bengal. Musa Khan was one of them. To continue the policy, Jahangir welcomed the Afghans to the Mughal nobility. Jahangir treated the defeated Afghan chief and their followers with great sympathy. The leading Afghan noble under him was Khan-e Jahan Lodi, who served the distinguished service in the Deccan. Jahangir adopted welfare measures for his people. He issued 12 formalities or Dastur ul Amal, which demonstrates his concern for public welfare. He ordered the building of sarais or guest house, mosques, and wells along the roads. He got established hospitals for treatment of the poor. He prohibited the opening of merchants' packages without their knowledge. If someone died, his property should be given to his heirs, and only the unclaimed property would go to the state. Jahangir took up notable administrative reforms. He abolished the Tagma and Mirwali toll taxes and the taxes that the Subedars imposed on the people for their own expenses. Jahangir banned the manufacture and sale of intoxicants. He abolished the punishment of cutting off nose and ears. He forbade the officials to take possession of cultivators' land forcefully. He prohibited the slaughter of animals on 2 days in a week. He confirmed all officers and jagirdars in their respective posts which they had held earlier in the days of Akbar. One of the earliest measures of Jahangir was that a golden chain having 60 bells and weighing several mounts was tied between the Agra fort and a stone pillar raised on the banks of river Yamuna. People seeking justice were required to pull this chain in order to put forth their complaints or appeals to the king. This act speaks very high of Jahangir's sense of justice. Jahangir had a few conflicts during his reign. In 1606, his elder son Khusru revolted. Khusru was an aspirant to the Mughal throne, but he was defeated. Following this, the fifth Sikh Guru Arjun Dev was sentenced to death, and all his property was confiscated by the Mughal emperor. two reasons are attributed to the conflict with Arjun Singh. The first one was that the Sikh Guru held Prince Khusro against the emperor. Second, Guru Arjun Dev was becoming popular and promoting the creed of Sikhism. In 1611, Jahangir married Mehrun Nisa, the young widow of a Mughal officer. She soon became Jahangir's favorite queen, and he gave the title of Noor Jahan, that meant light of the world. Noor Jahan's marriage with Jahangir almost eclipsed his personality. Jahangir is perhaps the only ruler who, although ruled for about long 22 years, but he was only a ruler in name for 16 years, as during this period his wife Noor Jahan was the virtual ruler. Noor Jahan's father, Itmad ud Dawla, was elevated to the position of chief minister. Noor Jahan's brother, Asaf Khan, became a nobleman at the Mughal court. And the daughter of Noor Jahan, Mumtaz Mahal, was married to Khurram, the other son of Jahangir in 1612, who later became Shah Jahan. These four people together were then the power center of the empire. It is called Noor Jahan Junta. The emperor granted her the rights of sovereignty and government. As a result of this, Persian poets, artists, scholars, and officers found asylum in India. The number of unproductive and corrupt officers mushroomed. It is generally thought that the excessive Persian representation upset the delicate balance of impartiality at the Mughal court. The Mughal Empire under Jahangir continued to be a war state with conquest and expansion. The long drawn war between Mewar and the Mughals came to an end during Jahangir's reign. Jahangir and Rana Amar Singh, the son of Rana Pratap, saw several ups and downs in the struggle, which continued for about 10 years. In 1615, both signed a peace treaty. This treaty reflected statesmanship of Mughal Emperor Jahangir. Rana Amar Singh accepted the suzerainty of Mughal Emperor, and Jahangir restored all territory of Mewar, including the fort of Chittor, to the Rana on condition that the fort would not be repaired. Rana's son was to represent him and to assist the emperor with a contingent of troops. This treaty of 1615 had tremendous impact on the Mughal Empire. In the Deccan, Jahangir followed the forward policy that he inherited. Continuous war was fought throughout his reign against the kingdom of Ahmadnagar, but complete success of the Mughal arms was not possible. After prolonged and terrible warfare of 14 months, Kangra was conquered in 1620. In 1615, the Mughals sent imperial army to Assam, then ruled by the Ahom king Pratap Singha. The force was under the command of Abu Bakr and Raja Satrajit. In spite of the initial success of the Mughals, the guerrilla tactics of the Ahoms gave the Mughals a hard time. In fact, it was a disaster for the Mughals. Student friends, look at this map and have the idea how the Mughal Empire got expanded over the centuries. Right from Babur, new territories were annexed till Akbar, and by the time of Aurangzeb, the entire subcontinent was almost under the Mughals. We have come to the closing years of Jahangir. Friends, this is a full portrait of this monarch who was also a great patron of Mughal painting. We will look at other sides of his personality in my next video. The main cause of the trouble in the closing years of Jahangir was the question of succession after his demise. In 1621, Jahangir fell sick. then began so much of turmoil. Noor Jahan had excessive influence over politics. Noor Jahan desired to retain her control over the throne by placing the youngest son of Jahangir as emperor. But Khurram was the natural selection of the emperor for the throne. Jahangir asked him to crush the revolt in Kandahar, but Khurram refused, fearing that Noor Jahan might create difficulties for him in his absence from India. There was breach of trust between the father and the son. Khurram revolted against his father in 1622, as the emperor failed to restrain the empress. But under adverse condition, he made his submission to the emperor. Jahangir pardoned Khurram, he being the most energetic son, and Jahangir needed him in running the empire. Jahangir always feared the Persians and the Uzbeks of central India. The Persians matched the Mughals in military strength and resources. Their relations were tolerably good because each feared the other's might. But in 1622, taking advantage of the internal disorder of the Mughals, the Persian ruler Shah Abbas captured Kandahar, which is presently in Afghanistan. It was a misfortune to Mughal prestige. Jahangir's attempt to recover Kandahar failed. Mahabad Khan was a Mughal general and statesman at Jahangir's service. Mahabad had suppressed the revolt of Khurram, but his success made Noor Jahan jealous. Mahabad Khan felt humiliated by her treatment and rose to revolt in 1626. But soon he had to seek pardon. It was followed by Jahangir's death in 1627. We conclude with the impression that Jahangir is an interesting character in medieval Indian history. Sometimes he was cruel, and at other times he was fair and gentle. His reign, on the whole, was fruitful of peace and prosperity to the Mughal Empire. Viewers, thank you so much for your cooperation. We will meet in some other video. Thank you.